Matvei Michkov is the premier Russian prospect in the 2023 NHL draft, and we have some big updates to talk about him with the Capitals' interest in him, as well as what one of the Capitals scouts said about him, which is not good news whatsoever. But what did this Capitals scout say about Matvei Michkov? Where could he go in the 2023 NHL draft, and what are the latest rumors? Well, make sure you watch till the end for all of the news, and hit that subscribe button if you're new for more draft content just like this all throughout the year. You won't want to miss it. And a little bit ago, we talked about Matvei Michkov and the rumors of him potentially dropping out of the top 10 in the 2023 draft. And looking at everything, it all just feels like, at least in the top 10, the Capitals are the most likely team to go after him. It just makes the most sense with where Michkov could potentially fall, as where is just who would be most interested in taking him. With Michkov and, of course, the Alex Ovechkin connection. There's so much riding on that Capitals pick, not even just with Michkov himself, but just in that Capitals franchise. They need somebody of Michkov's talent, of Michkov's status. And I mean, the Capitals could really use a player like that. And you can see, again, just what he's done over the past few years and what he was able to do with Sochi in the KHL. 20 points in 27 games as a draft eligible is insanity. The talent is there to be one of the best prospects in this draft. And for the Capitals, it seems like, at least if he's available, they will be taking him, right? But here's the thing. We saw a recent interview by a Capitals scout talking about Michkov and some pretty big concerns against him. Now, this wasn't anything about the Russia situation, him staying there in the KHL for the next 3 years, nothing about that. It was actually about the character of Matvei Michkov and some massive character concerns about Matvei Michkov and some big things that point towards maybe some disinterest from the Washington Capitals themselves. Now, we got this article from the Hockey News from Sammy Silver talking about the situation. Michkov watch, Capitals reportedly aiming to take forward, but Washington scout shares character concerns. Washington scout Andrei Nikolishin shared character concerns surrounding the 18-year-old who the Capitals are reportedly seriously aiming for come June 28th. And this is just fascinating. The Washington Capitals have a lot to consider going into the 2023 NHL draft, where they will make the highest pick since 2007 with the 8th overall selection. All eyes are on Michkov, and while the reports that the Capitals are seriously aimed at taking him, there's a concern from this team scout that's raised some eyebrows. Washington scout and former player Andrei Nikolishin shared some character concerns surrounding the 18-year-old. So, again, some pretty big news here surrounding, again, the Capitals' interest, the likelihood in them taking it, but again, apparently some concerns character-wise against Michkov. Now, it goes on to say, Sportsnet's Elliot Freeman also reported on 32 Thoughts that getting an interview with Michkov has been nearly impossible for several NHL teams visiting Russia, as the only way some clubs have been able to speak with him has been to physically track him down after a game. There have also been rumors and speculation about his negativity and attitude towards teammates. In 2020, he and Capitals prospect Ivan Miroshnichenko got into a fight during a Russian junior team training session for the Youth Olympics, though the two have made up and reconciled since. For me, he's first or second based on skill, Nikolishin said. But in character, in relation to teammates, coaching staff, management, fans, a person has now fallen very low in the eye of all scouts and all managers. And man, this is absolutely fascinating to see, because we have seen the issues surrounding Michkov in the past, most notably around, of course, that 3-year KHL agreement, and if he'll ever come over, which he will, let's be honest here, and if that is worth the wait for teams, and how that's kind of made Michkov's status and stock fall a little bit. But this is really the big thing. This is the big thing that could be holding Michkov back from a lot of different NHL teams. To me, it just, again, sounded way too weird that we saw rumors around falling outside the top 10 for a prospect that most likely is only going to be in developing for 3 years in Russia, which for a lot of players around the 10 range is pretty normal, honestly. And the fact that that was slipping his stock so much for the talent that he had was just insane. But you see a team like the Washington Capitals, who have had so much obvious interest in Matvei Michkov, even them, they have a scout here who's just basically ripping into Michkov, ripping into his character, ripping into how he basically puts himself out off the ice. And the fact that a scout from the team that is basically one of the most interested in him is saying stuff like this is a real indictment, and again reveals a lot more why we could see some teams be less interested in him come draft day. But man, it's one thing to say that Michkov doesn't have the character that you would want to see, but again, I've not seen such disrespect for other people in my life. This is coming from a former NHL player, a scout with the Washington Capitals, a scout who was with Chicago for 6 years. He's gone through and seen a lot of prospects. He's gone through and interviewed a lot of prospects. He's gone through and met all these guys. Yet Matvei Michkov is by far the most disrespectful to other people that he's ever seen. I mean, obviously, it's hearsay and we don't know if it's proof and everything like that. But again, it's a scout that's not even just a former scout. He's in the now. He's with the Capitals. He's one of their main scouts that will be a big force on draft day. And he's saying this. That's not very good. Now, the article goes on to say this as well. The Hockey News' Ryan Kennedy also reported back in March that several scouts had similar concerns with Michkov's character. When it comes down to it, teams can't exactly validate or reject those claims of character concerns without interviewing him. Rumors are also swirling as to whether Michkov's inflexibility and unavailability are being used to help him move down to go to a preferred team, aka the Washington Capitals. He was also reportedly told not to speak to NHL representatives per Match TV. Still considering these concerns and the fact that he is under a KHL contract with SK St. Petersburg, where the enigmatic forward will land as a mixed bag as of right now, some believe the talent alone outweighs those concerns, while others want an NHL-ready player sooner rather than later and prefer a safer pick they've gotten to know better. In the end, it's hard to believe Washington will pass on him if he does drop to number 8, given the team's apparent high interest in Michkov, but also considering their aging core, the closing Stanley Cup window, and a focus on youth and the future. The first round of the NHL draft will be on Wednesday, June 28th. And just a wild article in every single way. But again, it seems like even though the Capitals have that major interest, again, it seems like it might still be something where they aren't fully on board with Michkov. And it's not even, again, for that 3-year KHL reason. It's because of character issues. And that's something that we've heard time and time again. And I'm not going to confirm anything. I don't know anything, but it does seem like something that we've seen talked about a lot. And I mean, Nikolishin could just be mad that he didn't get interviewed or something, or he didn't get an interview that he wanted or something. I'm not sure, but it also is something where if he's still gone face to face with Michkov and he's saying something like that, there definitely has to be some reason behind it. Now, there also is the potential of Nikolishin just saying this because he wants other teams to look at it and be like, oh yeah, he has character issues, so we're not going to draft him, and then the Caps end up getting him anyways, which seems like to be the case. Even though the Capitals might have problems with Michkov, it still seems most likely that if he is available, he will be the pick at number 8. So even though there has been these character issue concerns, it still seems like from what we can glean from this, the Capitals are still picking him, no matter what. But that's just the thing. Even though it could be a smokescreen here, it also could just be substantial. It could just be coming from the heart of Nikolishin, and this could also be things that other teams know as well. I mean, there is obviously that high-end talent, high-end ceiling, and even though that talent is fantastic, for other teams, they will have to weigh how much do they really know? How much do they want to be able to take a risk? I mean, if Michkov does have these character issues, does have these issues around other people, around fans, around just people in general, then for teams, that's also another part of things. Because yes, they don't even know what's going on and they'll want to interview him, but they also have all these reports of character issues. And if they even want to bring a player like that and a personality like that into their franchise whatsoever. So really, I mean, Michkov has just become by far the most complicated prospect of this 2023 draft. This is not helping. But I also feel like if these are substantial claims, if these are true claims where, I mean, Nikolishin says that he is the worst player that he's ever seen personality-wise and saying that he has huge character concerns with him, that's something that I would trust considering how many players he's been around, how many young players he's scouted and interviewed and everything. That is a substantial aspect. And I mean, it wouldn't completely surprise me. I mean, Michkov has been a sensation in Russia for so long, probably has that little bit of ego. I mean, it's not an unrealistic thing to think, but again, that will be something for teams to juggle. Will that be something that they'll be able to take because of that talent level? In most aspects, I would say for me, I would be fine with it. But again, there's a lot of teams out there really looking at their locker room, looking at the chemistry they have. A player like Michkov might not fit with what they want. And you look at his, especially teams like Montreal as well. Do you want to have a player like that built into that system where he might have that great production potentially, but again, have those big locker room downsides? We'll see. Every team in the NHL right now, especially in that top 10, will have to discuss whether it's worth it or not, but it's going to be bananas to see where Michkov goes. Easily, in my opinion, the biggest story of this draft right now, bar none. As for official predictions, though, I still see him going to the Washington Capitals. To me, that's just the most likely bet. I mean, to me, it's not a question of whether he will fall. I think he will fall in this draft, but to me, he doesn't get past Washington. If he does, I think Detroit takes him. If he gets past Detroit, I think Vancouver takes him. I think there's such a big opportunity here for the Washington Capitals to get ahead in their prospect pool, add some amazing talent there, and really bring it up in a big way. And even though those character concerns might be there, I think they'll be fine, especially if he's in the same system as Alex Ovechkin. There could be a lot of lessons learned from that, which I think the Capitals will definitely take into account. But I still think, at the very most likely, Michkov will be a Capital after this 2023 draft, and it's just trending more and more in that direction, character concerns or not. But those are the latest Matvei Michkov rumors heading up to the NHL draft. Let us know down below, what do you guys think of this article? What do you guys think of Nikolishin's thoughts? Do you think they're correct? Do you think Matvei Michkov has those character concerns? Would you still take him even with those included? Where do you think he ends up on draft day? Let us know down below. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already for more draft content just like this all throughout the year. And of course, share the video with all the hockey fans you guys know online and click on this card for all my 2023 draft content right in one playlist. Thank you so much for watching. Draft time is upon us and it's exciting, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.